We're good?
Yeah, you could.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Mark. This is Mikey, Andy, Graham, and Sanj, and we're excited to introduce you to FundForge, the future of personalized investing. Now, before we go on, I want to ask how many of you invest in the stock markets? Okay, and how many of you hold ETFs or any other type of index funds in your portfolios? Okay, let me rephrase the question then, or ask another question. Why should only Wall Street get to create index funds, right? Imagine if anyone, students, retail investors, or analysts can turn their investment ideas into real investable products. Today, index funds are just huge. Over 15 million US households hold them, and the average inflow into the US index funds was $585 billion a year over the past 5 years. The index fund market capitalization exceeded $8 trillion in 2023 and is set to cross $10 trillion mark by 2027. But here's the catch. The power to create these funds is controlled by just a few giants, mostly banks and asset managers like JP Morgan, BlackRock, and S&P 500. But what if that changed though? Today, millions of investors have great ideas, but no tools to build or share them. FundForge fixes that issue. With over 40,000 tradable securities worldwide, the possibilities for customized index funds are virtually limitless, finally putting creativity and personalization into the hands of everyday investors. Having said that, the problem is quite clear. There's no easy, low-cost way for individuals to create, share, and profit from personalized strategies without navigating complex and expensive fund structures. So once again, we have the high fees, you have various regulatory hurdles, and you're also offered no customization tools in the existing ETF market. That's where we come into play. FundForge offers a platform and tools for customizable index funds that make investing, sharing, and tracking easy for everyone. We use smart contracts to automatically rebalance the portfolios, which means that there's no need for fund managers. We also let creators earn royalties when others invest in their products on our platform. And lastly, there's no regulatory fund setup required. You could argue that we're essentially democratizing the asset management industry and make it easy for everyone.
Yeah, and with that being said, we're going to be talking about our target market for FundForge. We'll be using a TAM, SAM, and SOM assessment of this. So first talking about our TAM, this is our total addressable market. We valued it at $12.5 trillion. And we got this number because according to the Boston Consulting Group, the global personal financial wealth market stood at about $516 trillion. Now this is worldwide, but of that 516 trillion, about 50 trillion of it was in retail investors. And then from that same report, we found that about only 25% of them are active retail investors. So now this is the total addressable market we want to capture. Well, let's break it down to a more serviceable level. So with our SAM, which is the serviceable addressable market, we valued it at about $2.5 trillion. Now, of that 12.5 trillion from our TAM, we found that according to the Gemini crypto report, that only about 20% of active retail investors are comfortable with crypto and blockchain applications. Now, with us being a crypto blockchain application, this is how we got down to our SAM level. We're now getting into our SOM, which is our serviceable attainable market. We valued it at about $1.25 billion. And this is because early adoption rates of fintech and DeFi platforms, just like this, have about a 0.05% to 0.1% adoption rate within the first 1 to 5 years. Companies just like, or services just like Robinhood and Uniswap had about the same amount of adoption rate. So that's what we're trying to value at for FundForge. Now, getting to our competitors and the edge we have over them, we're going to be highlighting our M1 Finance and Enzyme Finance competitors. So first off, obviously the custom index creation. M1 Finance has custom index creations for stocks, ETFs, and bonds. Enzyme Finance has the exact same thing, but only for crypto assets. With FundForge, we're going to try to combine both of those into allowing you to create crypto, stock, ETF, and bond index funds. Monetization for creators. M1 Finance does not have any monetization for anyone that's creating an index fund on their platform. Enzyme Finance does have that. They allow managers to charge fees for each of their creations. And obviously, we're going to be doing the exact same thing, allowing creators to get monetized for the index funds they make. True strategy ownership. M1 Finance is centralized, so they're the ones that are holding all the ETFs and index funds that the creators create. And Enzyme Finance also is on blockchain, but it's not proof of work. Where we're with us, FundForge is going to have NFT provable work to show that everyone that creates their index on our platform has NFTs to prove it that it was theirs. blockchain based. M1 Finance is not on the chain, but Enzyme Finance as well, and so is FundForge. The asset class focus, like I said before, M1 Finance is only stocks, bonds, and ETFs. Enzyme Finance is only crypto assets. With FundForge, we're going to be combining all those together. And then user accessibility. M1 Finance is very user accessible, just like how Robinhood is. It's very easy for retail investors to use. Enzyme Finance is very like DeFi focused, so a lot of coders like to use it, but they're not very adapt to retail investors just like us. So FundForge is going to try to make it super easy to access for everyone.
Okay, so for the business model, the first thing to get into is FundForge revenue source. And for creators to create a ETF, there'll be a flat rate creation fee. And then also whenever investors mint or redeem shares of the index, there will be a small fee applied to that based on the total amount that they are minting or redeeming. And then as well, we can do a business to business model, giving other brokers an API interface to add to their own existing models. And then also for user incentive, the users will have full ownership over their ETFs, as well as earn a royalty on the investors into their ETFs. And then it also just gives them customizability to invest into what's important to them, whether that's morally or just a new strategy that they think might be good. And then this is a quick smart contract example of how it would work. So we have the main structure as an index, which is the creator of it, and then the assets, weights, and what assets they actually are. And then we have the function to create the index, which is just which assets they are, the weights associated with them, and then obviously can get more complicated with rebalancing rules and other more dynamic strategies. And then the function to mint shares. So when someone buys the index, it creates it'd probably be ETH to the share, the index share, and then also to redeem shares, the share to ETH.
There are some risks that we must consider. To do this, we built a risk, solution, and viability matrix. The matrix is divided among two axes, horizontally from high risk to low risk, and vertically from external to internal risks. The first major risk is adoption risk. Even though FundForge naturally appeals to investors with finance backgrounds, broader mainstream adoption may be difficult. Crypto platforms can feel intimidating to new users, especially those who aren't familiar with blockchain or even general investing terminology. To address this, our mitigation is focused on user experience. We're building an intuitive UI/UX similar to that of platforms like Robinhood, which naturally appeals to retail investors. We're also offering a simulation mode where investors can practice on demo accounts risk-free, kind of like the simulation account we did this semester. The second risk is credibility risk. Since FundForge allows anyone to create investment strategies, there's always a risk that poor quality strategies could harm user trust in the platform. To mitigate this, we're publishing performance metrics like returns and volatility for every strategy. Additionally, we're requiring creators to stake collateral, meaning if their strategy is abandoned or performs poorly, they risk losing their stake. The third major risk is regulatory risk. Since FundForge deals with tokenized investment strategy, there's a possibility that regulators like the SEC could classify certain activities as providing investment advice. Our mitigation here is twofold. First, we will strictly structure FundForge as platform only, enabling users to create and share tools, but not offering asset management services ourselves. Second, we will work proactively with legal counsel, especially those who specialize in DeFi or FinTech. However, we can confidently tackle any risks or adversity because at the center of FundForge is a team that's hungry to make an impact. My name is Sanj Kumar. I'm a junior studying finance and computer science with prior startup experience. My partner, Andy Nguyen, has experience and excels in UI UX. Mark Kosier is a fellow student athlete who has exposure to NFT projects. Mikey Callahan is our CFO, who is also treasurer of the SLU hockey team. And Graham Bishop is our CTO, who will spearhead the blockchain development.
All right, and just to show our timeline from now until fall of 2025, we'll start with mainly initial plan and team formation, which is usually just us getting together, thinking about making FundForge as it is, assemble the core personnel like our investors, our blockchain developers, financial experts, legal advisors. In August to September, we plan to conduct a competitive market analysis and explore potential partnerships with like fintech and banks, and also start development our prototype, specifically focused on the core features like fund creation, smart contracts, and marketplace interfaces. And then in October, we'll finalize our pitch, business plan, and financial projections, while also networking at like startup events alongside fintech conferences. And then we will fine tune our product based on feedback that we get from our beta testers, like very alpha testers specifically, because we will go into beta testing later. October to December, we will finalize our minimum viable product with like the essential features that we need. We'll hire additional developers and staff if needed, and we'll bring in more investors, continue to refine the product based on our feedback as it is. And in January through February, we expect to launch a private beta test to test our platform functionality and collect user experience and check accuracy for the index funds as they are. And in February to May, we'll launch it to the public just for everyone to use, with mainly a lot of user acquisition strategies like referrals and targeted ads. We will also start scaling our operations up, specifically in the areas of customer service, marketing, and also legal support. And then in fall of 2026, we will continue to expand our product, add more customization for our users, and mainly focus on customer retention. We'll also expand our team with more staff. We'll also actively monitor any like regulatory practices that might come up that could directly impact our organization. And this timeline mainly provides like a structured approach for our plan to launch FundForge, while also considering like key elements such as product development, investor engagement, and also market entry. And going on into our revenue model, this will be based off our events on the timeline. As I said before, we'll start with developing the minimum viable product, which will cost about $200,000 due to stuff like the core development, smart contract development, UI UX designers, legal appliance setup, and also like cloud infrastructure. We expect that will cost about $200,000 or so. And then as we progress through like January, February, and February to May, we'll end up into the beta testing and public launch. And then eventually we'll end up into our final area, which is fall of next year, where we'll go into refining our product and through just paying maintenance costs. But we expect that cost to be covered by our investors and our clients that we sell to with this product, FundForge. And the future investment is here. We built a platform posed to transform how people invest in index funds while being protected by blockchain technology and also just being transparent. This is not a product. This is actually a way to revolutionize a whole industry. So the time to act is now. Join us at FundForge and build the future investment together. Thank you.